Academy of Kerala to inspire you to innovate with his knowledge and experience on the topic, need of skill training and student startup ecosystem. And this session is co-hosted by Ma Basilius College, IEDC, Catalyst. So Inspire to Innovate is conceived to engage the student community during this lockdown period. We really hope this would bring interest to you and will support you in your entrepreneurial journey. Every day will be a 40-minute knowledge-packed interactive session where key speakers, including startup founders, academicians, and industry leaders will share their knowledge and experience. The webinar scheduled today will be a 40-minute session. You can type your question answers in the Q&A box below the screen, okay? So I would request each of you to take this as an opportunity to connect with him and make the most out of the session. On behalf of Kerala Startup Mission, I would like to formally invite Santhosh Kurup to take over this session. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Srikuti, and thank you, Startup Mission. I will, hi everybody. I will quickly go on to a video to say hi for a few minutes, and then I will switch off because the internet connection seems to be a little unstable. So you're able to see me? Yeah, this is me. My name is Santhosh. As Srikuti said, I work for ICT Academy of Kerala, and we are an organization which is dedicated for skills development. And we work on various new and technologies, also on management courses, as well as on life cycle courses. So that's the background of ours. And formally, I also wanted to thank Kerala Startup Mission. And moreover, I wanted to congratulate you guys, because this is a time where everybody is having uncertain times. There are problems all around. A mood of despair is there, and there should be something positive. And learning is something which is the most positive thing to happen. And also connecting with people, even though it is not possible physically, connecting with people at least through this kind of a platform is something that is going to help us keep our mood up. So thank you so much, KSUM, and appreciate you choosing me also for this wonderful series of seminar. I could see a lot of people who are very eminent in their fields coming in and taking the sessions moving forward. So let me see whether I can contribute in a little way to your endeavors. So as Srikuti was saying, the session. So I will now. I think I will go on mute on the video side. I will speak, and hopefully you all are able to hear me. So you can ask questions in the chat bot. So I will try to finish my session and then probably come back and pick up a few questions, which we'll try to answer. Other questions, I request Startup Mission to help me in consolidating it, and maybe over a period of time, I can send back the responses to you guys.
Sure, so we can do it after the session.
Okay, great. And again, this is truly a networked way of presentation. So I am only doing the talking. My colleagues from Startup Mission is helping me with the presentation. Somehow my system was not able to present it. So who is going to help me move the slides? Is it Rasik or Arya?
Yeah, I'll be helping you. So you can just.
Okay, so I will tell you to keep moving. Then you may have to move, right?
Sure.
So we keep talking about the need for skills everywhere in a conversation around the youngsters, with talking about profession, startup, or any other self-employment related thing. Invariably, 9 out of 10 times we'll come across the so-called term called skill, right? And we keep having our own views about skills and our own aspects and aspirations about skills and things like that. So request you to move the slide, Rasik. So why skill? We talk about this. So we normally think, why I'm going to be a startup entrepreneur. So skills are generally, one of the myths is that skills are generally required for people who are applying for jobs. I'm trying to be myself. So should I really be bothered about it? 3 contexts I wanted to set here. So if you could kindly press Rasik, it will open up the.
Yes.
So these are the one more. Yeah. These are the 3 things I would think when we talk about it to many startup companies and ideators. The first thing we keep hearing is, I have a great idea that can heal the world, right? Which is great, but sometimes we also hear people saying, but I really don't know how to make it work. I don't know how to build a solution around it. I don't know how to make a product out of it, right? So that is one dilemma many innovators have. The second dilemma many startups or innovators have is, yeah, I have an idea and I know to make a product because I'm a technologist, and I can play with technologies, whatever it is, and I believe I can make beautiful products. But I don't have any idea of where actually this product can be used, because I could see a lot of use cases, but I really don't know whether these use cases can be satisfied by only me, or are there any other solutions better than me, or are there solutions which are beyond me, right? So that is the second dilemma we keep hearing. And the third one, which is even more interesting, is that I have a great idea. I believe it is going to heal the world, and I've also made a product out of which we really believe that it is going to be very helpful for the customers. But I really don't know how to convince the world, because I believe that it will heal the world, but the world also need to believe that it will heal the world, right? So that is one major issue that we keep hearing about when we go around and talk to many innovators and startups. I am focusing only from the innovators side. Now, that is where actually if you can press once more, yeah, that is where we actually need the skills. So when we talk about, again, skills, we may normally think of only technology skills. That's why I put all the three contexts. So three questions or three dilemmas that we discussed is not just about technology. It is about technology, it's about business, it's about the process of selling and things like that. So skills is an overarching philosophy which covers more or less everything that we require to be able to use our talent and our potential to be of use to our surroundings, to be of use to our people, or to be of use to our world, right? So that, in a very high level, setting a context on why skills are required in the world, right? Now, may I request you to move one more slide? Yeah, there are a lot of terminologies that comes into play when we talk about skills, right? Especially people like us who comes from consulting background and all, we tend to confuse our people a lot. So that's, unfortunately, that's how we make a living, right? We confuse the world, and then the world think that only we can feel it and things like that. So, but nevertheless, I think if you were to break it down into a few things, I just wanted to focus on four important terminologies that are normally used in the world of skills development, etc. So let's hear, let's see what are they, right? Rasik, can I? Yeah. So the first thing that we keep hearing is knowledge. Okay. So fundamental question: what is the difference between skills and knowledge and things like that? So you put it in simple words, knowledge is mostly the theoretical understanding of a subject. So for example, if you're a programmer, you learn Python, all the syntax, all the usages, everything that you learn out of text is what adds to your knowledge. And the base of any skill development is actually knowledge, right? So there used to be a lot of what you call debates that I'm not sure how many of you are a part of it, but in our world, we keep asking, we keep telling, or we keep getting challenged on the importance of knowledge versus skill in the field of education, right? Is education going to be a knowledge provider, or educational institutes or universities should be a knowledge provider or a skill provider, or both? So one of the questions, before you ask me questions, is to pose this back to you people. What do you think? Maybe towards the end of this presentation, you may get some ideas, and I would love to hear from you about your thoughts about what should education be giving focus on, right? So knowledge is the base of it as far as the framework of skills development is concerned, and it is a very important aspect of it, right? Because unless you learn Python, you cannot write code on Python, right? Now, coming to the second aspect, which is about the skills part of it. I think Rasik is asking a question about whether it is audible. Okay, fine. Good to hear that I'm reasonably audible. Okay, skills is the second important thing, which goes just above the knowledge to shoulder to knowledge, because both are like twin brothers or twin sisters, right? If you have have reasonable sense of the subject through the knowledge you gain, for you now to apply this knowledge for some practical problems, right? How do you solve problems in the world? That is what innovators and entrepreneurs and companies are always trying to do. So how can we solve various problems in the world, or how can we create opportunities in the world and solve, take advantages of opportunities, right? So second important part is about skills. Skills is learning to use the knowledge in solving a problem. Simple as that. For example, you have learned all the syntax of Python, but how can I use? So now we are talking about COVID, and in fact, I was also been a part of in small way in analyzing a lot of data points that comes out of the healthcare system of the state. So we have been posed a challenge. The data comes in various forms. Is there a way that you can you can actually what you call make some input of this data? Okay, so then that is an opportunity. So Python go and create scripts and use functions to take out the data, do comparisons, and then it is then it becomes a solution for a problem that government is trying to solve or the healthcare department is trying to solve, right? So that is application of knowledge is what we call it skills. Now there is the third thing which is called abilities, right? I would think that it is a little more innate in nature. So it is something that is inherent in you. Not everybody can program. Yeah, that's a fact, right? You can have all the knowledge. You learned multiple books, then you had a lot of practice about using this code into various things. But when there is a new problem posed upon to you, you still don't know actually which all things that you should use and how to apply what, right? So that is what we call it as the ability. So it is like, at least for me, I can't be a Sachin Tendulkar or a Yeshudas for sure, because that's something in those people which is not there in me, right? But I could perhaps be a reasonably good software programmer because I have that programmer mindset, as we call it, to solve some of the business challenging technologies, right? So that's what we call it as ability. So essentially, in the world of skills development, we normally talk about skills, knowledge, abilities, which is called KSA framework. When you Google it out, you will see a lot of materials around it. And they say that all the three coming together is what is important. So if you are an innovator, for example, if you wanted to have the skills for developing a solution using the idea that you have, first you should have sufficient knowledge about it. Then you should practice those learnings and apply it into some other use cases that you're looking at, and maybe start slowly applying it into your use cases. And lastly, while applying to it, you should also be sure that you're liking it, you really wanted to do it, and you feel comfortable in programming, right? So that is the abilities. Now, there used to be a very interesting question once. It was posed to Mr. Ratan Tata about his companies when he was the chairman of the Tata Group a few years ago, where he was asked the question, "Sir, you own around 80 companies, and as an individual, and these 80 companies work in 10 or 11 verticals. So, as an individual, uh, do you are you capable of handling the skills of all these companies, and can you answer as a chairman if there is a question posed upon to you by a chemical company, Tata Chemicals to Tata Mobile, Tata Automobile, will you be able to solve all their problems?" And Mr. Tata was very quick in his response, and he said, "Mind you, I don't think I have the skills to handle all these companies, but I have the right people who can handle all these problems." So I understand that a lot of you are potential entrepreneurs in the future. You may have your own companies, or you may be an innovator within the companies. You may have a team to build certain things. So when you're having such a setup in the future, please don't think that you can solve all the problems. Okay, hey, we are all humans, and it is okay not to be having the ability to solve certain things, to acquire certain skills. But all you need to do is to use your network and find the right people. So that is where entrepreneurship is all about, right teamwork, right? So if you have co-founders, or if you have brilliant team colleagues who can actually solve some of the problems, that is fair enough. It is as good as you solving that problem. So it is not necessary that you will have the ability to solve every problem in the world, and it is fine. So only thing is that network and find the right people and bring them onto your side so that you collectively can solve the problem. Now, there is a last thing which we also call, in I mean, this is something which is mostly applied in the professional world, which is called the competence. I haven't gone to the next slide, Rasik. Can you kindly go back if you don't? Yeah, thank you. That is called competence, KSA. That is knowledge, skills, abilities combined with experience. So if, okay, you have learned the skills and you have the ability to coding, for example, but the more you are into solving various business challenges that are out in the world, we call it as more competent you become. So a person with 0 years of experience versus a person with, say, 5 years of experience working in the world of technology, we surely feel that the person with 5 years of experience may be able to solve such problems much quicker and much more efficient than a person with 0 years of experience. So experience does count, and it is very important to also focus on gaining experience in the area that you work, and that is going to be extremely important for all of us. I just wanted to take a pause and give you a very interesting anecdotal instance where I'm sure some of you would have heard this as a story in many forms and shapes. It was like this, where one ship was sailing through the ocean, and suddenly halfway through, it was a luxury ship, around 3,000 people were there on board, and it got stuck. The engine got failed, and it drifted, and luckily landed up near an island which was inhabited by a few people. The captain and the technical crew tried to solve the problems as much as it could be, but alas, they couldn't solve it because it looked like the problem was a little too difficult for them. And while they were struggling and not knowing what to do, that is where one of the inhabitants of the island came forward and said, "Hey, you know what? We had similar experiences of ships getting stuck, and people used to come and meet one mechanic here who is an old man. Maybe he would be able to solve your problem." So captain was very happy, and he sends his people to go and then fetch the old mechanic to solve the problem. So he comes in, he has a rag. I mean, it looks like a rag picker with some tools, old-fashioned tools in his sack. He comes on board. He goes to the captain's cabin and try to start the ship and does something. Nothing works. Then he goes down to the dock. He opens his toolkit, takes a hammer, does a couple of knocks, and then asks the captain, sends a message to the captain to again switch it on. And surprise, the ship started working. Right, so everybody was happy that this mechanic could solve the problem, and they were celebrating, and because they were stuck for the last 24 hours. Now the captain very politely sends a message back to the mechanic saying that, "What is your fees, sir? So we would like to pay the fees." And the mechanic sends a message back saying that it is $10,000, right? And unfortunately, the captain and the crew got a shock because this mechanic did nothing but took a hammer and knocked a few places, and in 15-20 minutes, the whole thing was over. And he has charged some exorbitantly high rate of $10,000. But again, unfortunately, the ship was not working for the last 24 hours after they tried. But this man made it work, so he didn't want to be looking rude against the person. So he again politely sends a request saying that, "Hey, can you please send us an itemized bill of your work?" Right? That is how big companies provide their bill. When they give it to the customer, they say, "Okay, coding this much, requirements analysis this much, design this much, testing this much, and this is the overall bill," right? So this guy sends a bill back very happily. He sends and says that knocking the what do you call the engine with a hammer, $2. Uh, the knowledge and the skill to know where to knock is $9,998, and that solves the problem. So the captain very politely pays and moves forward. It's a very anecdotal story, but it makes a lot of sense because it is everybody can learn to knock in places with a hammer, but where to knock and how to knock is something very important, and that comes with experience. So I just wanted to say that it is pretty important that you gain enough experience on the specific area that you are passionate about or that you're working around, because that is like the $9,998 worth of thing that you do. Knocking with a hammer is not worth unless you have that knowledge, skill, and experience, right? So so let me now request Rasik to just move on to the next slide. So this is about, okay, we talked about a context on why skills, and we talked about some of the frameworks that are normally applied for skills development. Now, I just wanted to take the next 5-10 minutes about what are the kind of areas that you should focus on. Okay, now I believe at least half of you would be convinced that, okay, I need to learn something. But now, what is it that something that I need to learn? I know this is a webinar opened up for people not just within the state and outside, but I'm just taking a case on what Kerala as a government is looking at in terms of various focus areas. And perhaps if you're working in, or if you wanted to expand your scope into Kerala, or if you wanted to work in Kerala, or if you wanted to develop something for Kerala market, this could be something pretty useful. But I also wanted to say that more or less the same philosophy is being extended by many other states in the country, as well as many other countries in the world. So more or less, I think what we are talking about is not rocket science and very, very, very specific to Kerala, but it is more or less expandable to certain things. I will also talk about the philosophy behind why we are choosing all that. So so I have classified the skills areas, as I said beginning. It is not just about technical skills. So I have classified it into multiple skill areas. So this slide focuses on some of the skill areas that the government of Kerala is focusing from a technology perspective. So Rasik. Yeah, so from the GOK, that is Government of Kerala perspective, we are focusing on the following skill areas. Cyber security is one area. Uh, AI, ML, cognitive computing is another area. Data analytics, GIS, big data is another area. Internet of Things, augmented reality, virtual reality, blockchain, additive printing, medical technologies, especially in the wearable domain, is the area that we are very much focused on. Of course, these are all called the IR4 technologies. I don't think I should spend a lot of time in explaining what all these technologies are, but of the various IR4 technologies that is emerging in the world and that has emerged in the world, these are the focus areas that government is looking for. And Kerala Startup Mission has got centers of excellence created on various domains, various technology domains that I have highlighted. ICT Academy of Kerala, which is my organization, has got various training programs in many of these areas to augment the skills domain for the people. And in fact, government has got a lot of opportunity areas as use cases that is being developed using some of these technologies so that these entrepreneurs and ideators can get a real life use case for the application of these technologies. To learn, pick one or two out of it and focus on it. And my personal pick would be on data. I think data is the new oil. So anything that you learn for analyzing the data, managing the data, making decisions out of the data, I think that is going to be a very, very important thing. A couple of examples I can tell. In Kerala, last 2 years, we had some very tough time with the flood situations that were happening. We right now, not just Kerala, across the world, we are struggling with the COVID. All these areas, take the example of COVID, apart from the health workers, one of the important set of people who are working behind the scene are the data analysts. So they are pulling out the data from various corners and nook and corners of the world, and trying to create models to say that, hey, if this goes like this, the place becoming a hotspot, or what are the probabilities that beyond lockdown we will be able to be a bit more free, removing some restrictions. So data analysis, for all that matter, is going to be a very, very important base. I would say that it is the new programming language for the technology. So like how you learn Python, I think I would suggest that you should learn some techniques on data analytics. But having said that, all the above are very, very important. It has got interesting use cases out there, so that you can find a lot of opportunities in this area. So Rasik, may I request you to move? Now, one important thing, as I was telling even before, this is one of the questions. I know technology, but I don't know where to use it, right? So this is one big dilemma for many innovators in our country. They are very good in technology. They can create anything, solve anything using the magic of technology. But it is also important to understand a little more about the domain in which these technologies could be applied. So again, going back to the Kerala example, Rasik, if you can kindly press it. Keep going. Yeah. So for Kerala as such,
Which one do you want? This slide or
Yeah,
previous
this
one?
slide. No, the previous one.
Okay.
The one which talks about fintech, space tech, etc. So from a Kerala context, these are all what we call it as the business domain in which various products and services are required. So for example, fintech, I do not know, people who are on the call who are from Kerala may be able to tell. Kerala is one of the largest non-banking hub in the country, right? So when you say non-banking, the banks are the SBIs and federal banks of the world. The non-bankings are all the loans and chit funds, which gives money for gold or money for property and all those things. So there are quite a lot of, say, for example, Muthoot Finance or Koshamattam. These are various organizations which are working in the state, and this is non-bank, one of the biggest sector in Kerala. So if technologies can solve the problems on non-banking or the financial technologies, as we call it in short term as fintech, fintech is a big opportunity for Kerala. By the way, fintech is actually the big opportunity across the world. 40% of tech businesses operates in the fintech area to solve the problems under the fintech. So if you're looking at developing products, study the fintech market, and you will be able to create a lot of opportunities using technology to solve their problem. The next one is exclusively for Kerala is space tech. Again, a little bit of background is that Kerala started the space industry for the country. So it is 50-year-old legacy, and we have quite a lot of experience and expertise out here in the market. So it becomes very important that Kerala develop technologies that are suitable for space industry as such. So space tech, again, space tech plus data is something which is going to be a huge opportunity. I talked about the floods that we were talking, which we had 2 years ago. The satellite imagery and the GIS information about the demographic information about the state were put to use to actually identify the high impact zones and also to segregate the zones which are going to be sensitive. And we kind of moved away the citizens from those sensitive areas to avoid in the future, if there are floods coming in, those areas should not be inhabited. So we are able to identify red zones in the state, uh, through which through which we are able to actually identify and isolate red zones where people should not be living. So such examples are classic examples of usage of space technology for real life purposes. So space tech is one area. Kerala is very well known for its medical care. So medical technology is another area. Again, we do create wearables, but there are a lot of applications of these wearables in the medical area, and it is going to be important to know which are all the medical areas where these wearables can be applied. So one of the, again, a very, very interesting example that we are working out now due to the COVID again, is the fact that there is a shortage of ventilators in the country, right? And there are a lot of open designs for ventilators, to manufacture ventilators, but people who doesn't have a medical understanding will be unsuccessful in creating the useful ventilators. This is not just about an engineering aspect of using an ambi bag and pushing the air through the ambi bag. There are a lot of other medical complications that will be involved before fixing the so-called ventilators into the patient's mouth. And again, first of all, we even need to realize the fact that whatever we are seeing in the open design is no more a ventilator. This is more of a respirator or a respirator support that we are creating. So there are such what you call domain specific knowledge that is also required for us to create solutions that are useful for that particular industry. So that's what I was trying to say. Agriculture is again a very, very interesting area, especially for Kerala, where the agricultural land availability is very less. So it becomes even more critical for us to identify innovative means of agriculture. So there are a lot of research work that are happening, and very, very interesting products are coming out as well. So these are some of the environmentals. Again, last but not the least, Kerala is very, very sensitive to environmental aspects. And then you can see the Cochin International Airport became the first solar powered airport in the country or in the world, I think. So which shows how we can garner or use the environmental friendly technology for solving some of the problems that we have. So these are some of the business domains. So I would urge each one of us, when we talk about skills is not just about technology. It is also about understanding the business and the domain where this technology can be utilized. So Rasik, can I? Okay, apart from business and tech the tech, there are a few more things that I think is very important for us. So let's get, so one click, please. Okay, what we call it as process area. So even if you have a great technology understanding, even if you have a great business understanding, I think it is important to have certain process understanding. So for example, total quality management, the product that you release, not just once, but every time that you release should have very high quality. How do you ensure that quality of it? It is not to do with the initial design. It is not to do with the product innovation, but it is to do with the process sustainability that we are talking about. So there are multiple skill areas that you should focus on when it comes to processes. So these are some of the areas that I've mentioned. I wouldn't go into the details of it. So let's do one more click. The next one is about life cycle. So even the development, the operations of company, etc., has certain level of certain life cycle in it. And one of the important aspect of it is to understand those life cycles. So if you can click a few more, I think it will show up. So some of the skill areas that I feel is important as innovators and entrepreneurs are these, and understanding of design thinking, a good understanding of financial management. Many a times we make great in technology, but we don't know how to make profit, or we don't know how to be sustainable. Forget about profit in our company. So it is important to understand financial management. IPR is a very, very critical aspect of it. You may have created a great product, somebody would have taken it and put their stamp on it, and now you can't use it, right? So those kind of important aspects are to be also learned. So click next, please. Okay, the last one is about life skills. So it is, as I said in the first slide, I have a great product, I know where to sell it, but unfortunately the world is not convinced about my product, right? So it becomes important. The previous one, sorry. So it is important that, can we go just one slide back?
Yeah, it's
yeah. So the life skills is another very, very important thing. It's about creating those business proposals that will win the investors, that will win customers. It's about managing your people effectively. It is about managing change. It is about creatively solving the problem. One of the most important critical skill that I would say that is required for individuals beyond technology. In fact, with the automation coming in so much, I think a lot of technology solutions will get automated, and the robots and the artificial intelligence can solve a lot of problems. Even humans need not. There is an interesting video called "Humans Need Not Apply," right? So such things are existing, but the only thing that cannot be replaced even now is the human intelligence, and our ability to innovate, our ability to be creative, and our ability to solve problems in a critical manner are going to be critical for us. So it is important to nurture those skills. Some of them are innate, but there are a lot of things and a lot of techniques that are available to nurture those skills. So these are the various skills that you should perhaps look at for a holistic understanding of the world. So technology skills, business domain skills, process skills, life cycle skills, and life skills. So these are at a broad way the various areas of skills development that you may want to look at. Now moving on to the next slide, which I think is last but one. Rasik, yeah, one more. Yeah, this one. So now you got an understanding of what are the skills, why skills, what are the frameworks that are used, and what are the skill areas that you need to look at. Now let's look at how to acquire these skills. Does it become very expensive? Thanks to internet and thanks to the digital revolution that we are in, most of these skills or knowledge and skills are available to you free. What you need to do is to spend time to dedicate your time to learn this passionately, because most of these skills that we call it as MOOC based learning courses, which are available, one of the interesting stats that came out from Coursera, for example, it is the largest massive open source course portal, which we call it, has a registration of 93% of the people who takes the registration of a course will exit halfway through. So only around 7% of the people tend to complete the course after they have started. So which is a very, very sad state of affairs. We are all very excited after this. I'm sure many of you will get excited to go and take a skill, get registered into Coursera, edX, or whatever. But unfortunately, after a few days, you then lose your motivation and then you just exit. So That should not be the case. If you were to learn something, you need to spend time. There is no shortcut for success. Unfortunately, you need to work hard and you need to persevere and you need to have that passion. So some of these MOOC materials are given there. I think Coursera and all, I didn't put a lot of known thing. I put a few things which are not known. For example, HubSpot Academy, LinkedIn Learning, skill shop with Google. It is a single word. Okay, skill shop dot with Google. If you type in, you'll get a few free skills from Google of using Google Analytics and other things. So these are some of the other skill providers where you can go and learn very specific skills out of it. Then you can also take certifications from institutions like IITs, IIMs, IIITs, and even ICT Academy has got certification courses. There are industry bodies which conduct short-term courses, management development programs, as we call it. I think if you watch out, these are very, very interesting courses done by experts. So you can learn things at a very short notice, and it will be very exciting for you. Okay, move on. That's pretty much I wanted to cover. I thought this is a very, very interesting slide, which says Michelangelo at the age of 87 says, I am still learning. So you may think that, okay, am I old enough? Am I good enough to learn? But this is real life. In fact, I spoke about the Tata chairman. After he retired at the age of 70, somebody asked, what do you want to do now? Then he said, I had a passion to learn piano. So I'm going to learn piano at the age of 70. So if people can learn things at the age of 70 or 80, I think there is no time, there is no age, there is no limit that will stop you from learning. So I would request all of you to take the opportunity to learn, because you are in an era where knowledge comes to you at your fingertips. I started off my career when I was educating myself. I was in an era where people had to go behind the knowledge, but we are in an era, luckily, where things will come to us if we have the desire to learn it. So that's pretty much I had for my talk. I could perhaps open some of these chats.
You can click the Q&A, so you can and you can view the questions and answers there.
Okay.
I mean, questions. On the bottom of the screen, near next to the participants. So if you want, I can.
Yeah, 1 second. I'm just going through that. Trouble. Will they provide e-certificate? That is a question for you, KSUM. Do you give e-certificate after completing webinar?
Yes, we are. We will be issuing such guidelines on the website soon. We will be issuing some certificates after. I mean, for those who are completing all the webinar sessions. So we will give you the details of that, how to access those certificates and all on our website itself.
Okay. The other question was, sir, what are the job opportunities in Kerala that are at present for the mechanical engineering student after finishing the bachelor's degree? This is from Arun. Arun, there are a few industries in Kerala, like the Cochin shipyard, for example. Then there is an HLL factory out there. Then there is BPCL in Cochin. Then there is this, I can't remember the name of it is called instrumentation in Palakkad. So there are a few industry in Kerala itself which focuses on recruiting trainees in the mechanical and other core branches. So you may want to look out for those opportunities and see how we can apply it. But one little suggestion though is, it says, what are the opportunities in Kerala? Arun, you are in a connected world, buddy. So please don't look only at Kerala. Look at the world as your opportunity. So if you just open up the scope beyond Kerala, you will see much more opportunities, and I think you should look at that. Then there was an anonymous attendee who asked the question, sir, what do you think about the health and fitness industry in the future? In fact, good question. The point is that with the world seeing an unprecedented change, I think the health industry is going to be the topmost industry that is going to have high focus in the future. So the medical professionals, the medtech professionals. So if you're technologists, even then you have a lot of opportunities to solve problems around the health industry. So that is going to be a very, very important area. Fitness industry is definitely a supplementary industry along with the health. Obviously, cure is one part, but prevention is another important part. So fitness industry comes as part of the prevention part. So I believe that is going to also ramp up. Already the fitness industry is very high. Only thing is that it is revolving around the affluent community in the world. Now I think we will start to see people trying to become more preventive in nature by using some of those fitness routines, etc., on a regular basis, even at the lower end of the food chain. So you may see that as a potential opportunities for sure. There is a question from Radul PM. Should an entrepreneur be jack of all trades or the master of one? Very interesting question. I'm of the view that an entrepreneur have should be a generalist. I wouldn't say jack of all. I would say that uh, if you are a founder or co-founder kind of a person, which obviously if you are putting up your own enterprise, then you should be. So that person should have an understanding or an awareness of all aspects. So for example, even if you're a technologist, you should still know the financial aspects of a company. You should still know the IPR regulations at a very high level. You should still know the labor issues that are connected to you. Need not know the depth of it. That is where I said you still need to have an awareness of it, but because the decisions are taken care by you. So if you have an HR specialist who comes with a point saying that, sir, this is something that we need to look at because this is a regulatory issue. These three things are the options, and you as a leader of that enterprise, you will have to pick the right option. So in that case, you should still have, apart from the common sense, you should still have some level of understanding of that particular aspect of labor industry. So if you're an entrepreneur, I think you should know the various life cycle involved in a company or an enterprise at least at a base level. But I still believe that you should still have mastery of one or two items so that you can roll up your sleeves and get in there and then work with others who are also masters in various fields to come out with the products and solutions. That's pretty much I had as questions. So I think
Sure.
unless there is anything, I think we are just 2 minutes out of time. But
Sure, there's some.
otherwise, I just wanted to thank you all. And again, one request is, this is tough times. The world may change. I believe that outside of health industry, the technology industry is going to continue to have a huge demand coming up. So be aware of technology and be abreast with the changes that are happening. Whatever we have predicted, say 3 months ago, will not hold good in the next 3 months. Things will be completely different, and there will be a lot of reset that will be happening in the industry. So be mindful of it. But at the same time, many a times when you start from scratch or when you reset, it will open up a lot of opportunities. So I strongly believe that we are going to have lot more opportunities and lot of opportunities in different areas. And finally, I also would request you all to stay safe. Please observe the instructions given by the respective governments of yours, and let's make sure that we shall overcome it successfully. Thank you, guys, and thanks once again, KCM, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir. And it was a really wonderful session. And you pointed out some relevant points. I mean, especially having the right business skills when the opportunity comes up, especially in the medical tech sector, as you have mentioned in the slide. So it was a really fruitful session, and hope all the. I mean, there are many more questions coming up from the participants. We will do one thing. We can consolidate all the questions and share it with you, so you can share the answers to us, and we will list it as a small blog on our website. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thanks, guys. Bye.
For the participants, the next session is on tomorrow 5 p.m. So you can go ahead and register at our website. So the speakers list and everything is listed there. Regarding that query